you should be able to already find the percentage of an amount. So for example, if we wanted 20% of £150, you should already be able to work that out. So many of you may take £150, divide it by 100 to find 1%, which would be 1.5, and then times it by 20 in order to find your £30. Or some of you might use a decimal instead, so you might say £150 times by 20% is 0.2, and that's £30. But some method that you would use in order to work out the percentage. So that means if I wanted to increase my value of £150, if I wanted to increase it by 20%, I would then take my original £150 and I would add on my 20% increase, which is £30, which would make £180. If I wanted to decrease the value by 30%, I'd start with my £150 and I would deduct my £30, and that would make £120. However, as we move on to more and more complicated examples, it's much better to complete this in one step rather than in multiples of steps. So rather than working out the percentage and then deducting it or adding it on, we can work it all out by using a multiplier, and that's what we're going to look at here. So I'll go back to the same example. We wanted 20% of £150. Okay, so if I wanted to increase my value by £120, what I'm saying is I want 100% of my £150, all of it, and I want another 20%. So effectively I'm looking for 120% of my £150. So rather than working out the 20% and then adding it on, I'm now going to complete the whole thing with one calculation. So if I wanted 120% of £150, again I could use a variety of methods. I could take my £150, divide it by 100 to find 1%, times it by 120. Or I could go directly to the multiplier. Okay, so for the multiplier, I'm going to use 1.2. So if I took £150, if I multiplied it by 1, then I will get £150, so that's my 100%. And if I multiply it by 0.2, I will get my 20%. So I'm going to multiply the £150 by 1.2. This for the 100% and that for the 20%. And the value I will get is 180. And I will get the same answer here. And in fact you can see where the multiplier comes from here, because I've got, if I'm timesing by 120 and dividing by 100, and effectively I can divide this 120 by my 100, I can take my decimal point to there, and then it will be like that, so that will cancel. So I'd end up with 150 times the 1.2, so it comes from the same point. Now say I wanted to deduct 20%. So if there was an offer and I wanted to take 20% off the ticket price of something that cost £150, then again, rather than working out £150, working out 20%, then taking off that value from the whole figure, we can cut straight to the chase and use a multiplier. So this time, I don't want 100%. I am taking away 20%. So if I had the whole thing and I took away 20%, I'm going to be left with 80%. So I just want to know what 80% of 150 is. So I want 80% of £150. Okay, so again, I could do 150 divided by 100 to find 1%, times by 80, and that will give me my figure. I'm going to use a multiplier. So there's my £150. And my multiplier this time, I'm looking for 80%, so my multiplier will be 0.8. Okay? And again here, I could work this out. If I'm dividing by 100, there's my 80, I could cancel that out and move my decimal point over. And that's again where this multiplier is coming from. So 150 times 0.8 will be £120.